Now, I know going into this video that G-Sync is going to be a pretty hard sell. AMD has FreeSync, and I can't speak to FreeSync because I haven't seen FreeSync, and the nature of FreeSync and G-Sync is that you can't really gauge how good it truly is unless you see it with your own naked eyeballs, which I have not done. Though, I'm not an AMD hater by any stretch of the imagination, even though I do have an Nvidia card, and I always have. And if you prefer AMD stuff, totes cool. I want Nvidia to be as good as they can be because they need to keep Nvidia on their toes because normally I find myself in the green camp. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what I'm here to talk about. The second reason why I think that, at least on Nvidia's part, that G-Sync is going to be a tough sell is because they are trying to sell you something that, one, has to be seen with the naked eyeballs to be truly expressed, to be truly shown off, and two, because it is charging people hundreds and hundreds of dollars in order for something to be removed, not something to be gained. It is the removal of screen tearing. It is the massive reduction in input lag. These are the sorts of things that we as PC gamers have kind of learned to live with. When Icarus flew too close to the sun, his wax wings melted. That was the price he had to pay for getting so high. And almost in the same way, for us getting such high frame rates on the machines that we use, we have to deal with the waxen symbolism that is our... You know, this analogy's kind of falling apart. Let's just move along. What I'm trying to say is that screen tearing is a part of having high frame rates, and a lot of us have learned to accept that as the price we have to pay. That is just part of the experience. It's what it is to be a PC gamer, especially in high-end machines. Basically, what you have is a corporation, all right, telling you, give us hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and what we'll do is we'll get rid of your screen tearing, we'll drastically reduce input lag, and we'll overall give you a much, much smoother, much better gaming experience. Okay. Show us. Well, it turns out that G-Sync isn't something that you can just look at on a screen or a YouTube video and see the effects of. Doesn't really work like that, and that's what's going to make it a hard sell. This is something you have to see with your actual eyeballs in your actual face hole. All right? This is not something that you're going to be able to sell based on a video, no matter how good the quality is. If it's not being watched on a G-Sync screen, you ain't gonna see G-Sync. Sorry, that's how the cookie crumbles here. So as you sit here and watch the effects of directional headsets in action, I am going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, and whatever value you put on that is whatever value you put on that. But I will recommend to you G-Sync from the bottom of my heart. I will. It is not an accident that I titled this video, Is G-Sync Worth It? Instead of Is G-Sync Better? Because it is objectively better. You cannot argue that no G-Sync is better than G-Sync. Running with it on is definitely better than running with it off. Cannot be argued that it is a worse experience because of it. You would be a fool to do so. No one does. But we can debate whether or not it is worth it. We can debate whether or not the value of the effects you get from G-Sync is worth the price tag, and at this point it's still pretty hefty. G-Sync is still what I would consider an enthusiast grade upgrade. It's like having a 980 Ti or a Titan. It's not something everybody can afford at this point, and that's totally cool, but that adds to part of the sell. Just, these monitors are not cheap. They are not cheap monitors. This is an enthusiast grade addition to your gaming experience. It is a expensive upgrade. Now, I think it's worth it. I think that it's worth spending this kind of money on a G-Sync enabled monitor that's got, you know, good refresh rates, that has a good resolution. I think that's an excellent addition to your, you know, your battle station. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it, and that's totally cool. But I will tell you from the bottom of my heart that I think it is worth every dollar. But that's just me. And the value I put on a dollar, the value you put on a dollar, the value that 17-year-old kids put on a dollar, yeah, all that is completely different. So, I can tell you and scream from the mountaintops all day that G-Sync is great, and I'm glad I bought it, and I do it again, but you may not think it's worth it. And that is totally cool. That is totally fine. Such is the subjectivity of it. So just like barreling through a four-way intersection when the light is green on your side, it's really all just a matter of trust. You gotta just clench your butthole tightly and hope that the other people around you don't fuck it up. And I don't care if you're a millionaire or not, anybody who spends $700+ on a monitor, they're gonna feel their butthole tighten up once they press the add to cart button. But even with that said, I would absolutely recommend G-Sync. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would recommend G-Sync if you have the money to spare, if you're really a serious, wealthy enthusiast about your PC gaming and you want the best experience possible. G-Sync is the way to go. If you can get those high frame rates on your super Uber card, if you can get your computer up to enjoy the best of what G-Sync has to offer, I would recommend it wholeheartedly. It is a better experience that cannot be denied, and the more you go with it, the more you will be spoiled by it, the more you will love it, and the more you will be unable to go back to regular monitors. Literally, the only negative to G-Sync is the price tag, but when it comes to buying stuff, well, you only have to cry once if it's a quality piece of equipment. So with that, farewell, adieu, all's vanity, ta-ta. Things in the air just need to not bother me.